Hello, hello. Today is April 9th, 2021. It's a record-setting day on Wall Street, and to hear what's going on in the heavens, here's Norm Winski. Norm, the floor is yours.
Thank you for having me on, Jeff. I was on your show on Friday, March 26th, and I thought I would review what happened back then, made some forecasts, we'll see how those came out, and then we'll talk about what's coming up in the future. And for all you stock market people, that'll be focused on that mostly toward the end. So hang in there. So we over the weekend of the 26th, we had a full moon in the sign of Libra. We round up the usual suspects for a full moon or new moon, financial grains, precious metals, and because it was in Libra, that's associated with sugar and wheat. We'll be looking at those. Doesn't mean we'll get anything or even get a trade. But that's what the system says to look at. And we have to look at the price pattern too. And then we also had over that weekend Jupiter to the U.S. Neptune. That has to do with taking a snapshot of where the planets were when the country was founded on July the 4th, 1776. And again, if it's a U.S. chart, we'll be looking at your U.S. financials, which are stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar. And because this is involved Neptune, we'll be looking at oil. Then there was really nothing that following week until we'd be looking for a change of trend that Monday, And so then the following week, we really had nothing until we got to the holiday weekend there. We had Friday off on the 2nd. And so we only had one item there. It's been kind of quiet at the end of March and early April. And we had Jupiter lining up with Uranus, Jupiter in Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus. So that indicated look at cattle, copper, cotton, and stocks. Well, here's your charts now. You might want to take a screenshot of these, and I'll give you a few seconds, and hopefully that was enough, and you can play back the tape later, and if that doesn't work. So anyway, so if you see a red arrow, that was a miss. It didn't turn there, it just kept going. Usually when things fail, it means that its acceleration is often double that amount. That's often turns out to be a midpoint. So anyway, here's the cow went up, up, up into our window, and then just kept going. Cow kept moving higher. That's a little cow joke there, Jeff. All right, and then we had the cotton moving down, down, down until we got to that weekend and of the April 1 weekend, and we made a low there, and we went up. So that was good. That was a green arrow. Here's the copper did something similar to what the cotton did, and so that worked well. And here's your crude oil. We allow 1 day. You have to be right within 1 day. And then we were 1 day early and close to the high there on the crude oil. That was the top. And the gold, if it's going sideways, we don't do sideways. Newton's law, every action is the opposite equal reaction. You can't expect much to happen if it's been going sideways. Also, you can't tell whether it's going to be a high or low if it's going sideways. So we just take a pass. With a yellow bar there's another yellow bar on the silver, didn't do anything there. Sugar did not work out well. It wasn't bad, it wasn't terrible, but it did keep going over for a couple more days, so that's a miss. And corn was going sideways into the moon there, so that didn't work. And beans kept going lower, so that's a miss. And wheat went sideways, and here's the S&P. So we went up into the moon, the full moon there, and we had 2 indications for that weekend, and we did make a little bit of top there and had about a 50 handle pullback for a day or two, and before it went higher. And then over here at the red arrow, that did not stop the market, and it was basically went higher. So we had 2 out of 3 on the S&P. Bonds were percentage-wise a little better. We had the 2 points there for the bonds, and they bottom the next day. And here's your U.S. dollar. It was just going sideways, so we did nothing. Here's the Aussie dollar. It had a little pop up into the weekend for the moon, and that was a little trading top there for the Aussie dollar. Also for the currencies dance to the moon. Also, there's your British pound. Did something similar to the Aussie. Here's your euro. Going sideways. We did nothing, and the yen just kept going lower, so that's a miss. So our score out of 14 potential signals was 9 winners, 5 misses, 64.29%. Not one of my better ones. Some of you might have heard of the Bradley model. which quantifies the different planetary indicator events, and then we plot them on a graph. I've been doing this. I sort of been trying to improve on that for about 40 or 50 years. Started doing this back in the 70s. And here's my forecast I did in advance back in February. I might have showed you this earlier in March. Here's the blue line. And I did it in advance. And then as we go along, I overlay the S&P 10-minute bars on top of that to see how it's going. So you can see that worked out pretty well. Here's March 1. Here's each column is a day, March 1 through April 1. Overlay the S&P 10-minute bars on top of that. So you see, I think that worked out pretty well. All right, here's what's coming up. This weekend, we have a new moon. It's in the sign of Aries, which is not associated with any liquid futures market, so we're not running any specials this weekend. Just the usual suspects, which are financials, grains, and precious metals. We also have an indication for the U.S. with the U.S. stocks, T-bonds, and the U.S. dollar, and then it gets pretty quiet for the rest of the week. So, in line with what you said on your show last night, Jeff, I think you're looking for a top here. Is that correct?
Well, it's an area of strong resistance. I'm not going to open my checkbook until I get more confirmation, but it's an area of strong resistance close to today's close.
Right. Well, I think you mentioned 41.36.
I did.
I did a little Fibonacci mathematics, and I multiplied the October 11, 2007 high, 1576.09 times the Fibonacci 2.618, which is golden ratio squared, and I came up with 41.26 and change. We did go through that by a few handles a day. I think we got up to 49 or 41.29. So I'm kind of in your neighborhood there, Jeff. So we'll see if this thing can turn on Monday. If it keeps going much past Monday, it's probably just going to keep going higher for the rest of the week. But Monday is a possible change in trend window. So stay tuned, friends. There we go. At the end of the week, next weekend, we have Neptune lining up with the U.S. Neptune. That's big for your U.S. stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar, and oil. And then also we have another U.S. point, another thing, U.S. stock, T-bonds, and dollar. So how can I help you? Get a hold of me here. Call the Norm at 239-594-3939. I have some free day trading classes. I do those once a month, the first week of each month, so you might be able to get into the May class. I do that based on the S&P mini futures. And I also do swing trading for about 27 different futures markets. So you can get a hold of me here in sunny Florida, 239-594-3939. Email me at Winski at mbark with a Q in the middle, mail.com. Or if you're overseas or anywhere, you can call me on Skype at NWINSKI_1. Looking forward to helping some of your folks, Jeff. Everybody have a great weekend.
Norm, that's terrific as always, and you can't beat the price for your class. Norm, thanks, and we'll see you back in a couple of weeks, okay?
Righto. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.